Hey friends, so let's talk about the birthright citizenship issue that has been going on. So on June 27th, 2025, the US Supreme Court partially lifted the nationwide injunctions that have been blocking President Donald Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship for certain people born in the US. Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who was appointed by Trump, she wrote the majority opinion, and she said that judges had overstepped by issuing nationwide orders that blocked this particular policy. So the executive order was signed originally in January of 2025, and the purpose of this executive order was aimed to exclude children who were born to parents who are in the US illegally, or if they're here on a temporary visa. And it was aimed to block them from receiving citizenship. However, the Supreme Court did not rule on whether the executive order itself is constitutional. Instead, it focused on whether federal judges had the authority to block the policy across the entire country. And the court decided that they didn't. And now, any injunctions that are brought, they should only apply to those who are directly involved in the particular case. So what does this mean going forward? So the court's ruling, it doesn't settle the question on whether the executive order is legal, but it has opened the door for more legal challenges down the line. So some experts believe that previous rulings, like the 1898 case United States v. Juan Kim Ark, already established birthright citizenship for all children born in the U.S., even if their parents are non-citizens. However, there is still a debate, by several people, several groups, over whether this applies to children who are born to parents in the U.S. illegally. So while the Supreme Court's decision limits the scope of federal judges' powers, it also leaves it doesn't answer the question regarding the constitutionality of the executive order. However, it does leave room for class action lawsuits to be brought against those policies. And this could allow immigrant rights groups to challenge executive orders on behalf of broader groups of people. In fact, after the ruling, some groups had already filed class action lawsuits in Maryland and in New Hampshire, and they're hoping that by doing this, they'll be able to block the policy more broadly. However, if these class actions don't work and they fail, we could see a situation where birthright citizenship isn't applied consistently across the United States. And this could mean that children born in some states could be denied citizenship, depending on how the policy is, enforced or implemented. And this can cause confusion, especially since the United States, as citizens in the United States, we're free to move between states without any restrictions, right? So this can be really confusing and messy altogether if this executive order is allowed to go through. So we're going to continue to follow this situation closely as this case moves forward. We'll continue to provide you updates. So if you're interested in learning more about birthright citizenship and what it's going to look like and for the future of immigration, continue to follow us for more updates. See you soon.